Let's not excuse it. So that's what a lot of people do. They say, well, it's the community. This is why it happens because it's part of their culture. Not in the UK, it's not. I mean, for every one of me sat in front of you, there's another like 100,000 of me thinking exactly the same thing. And I meet them. I meet these men.
Terrorists, all of us.
All of us terrorists. All of us going to be in jail. And we can be very angry. The thing about Britishness, if you want to term that, or Englishness, and I prefer to use Englishness because Britishness is an export variant where anyone that comes in a rubber dinghy now can be British, can't they?
Sure.
I'm English. I'm half Welsh. I'm actually a bit eighth German as well. It's all a bit of a mix, but still, I'm from these lands, and this is where my family came from. All of us have a responsibility to do something about this. In a way that is, of course, not inflammatory or violent. I've got to say that, haven't I? Because else we're going to have jail. Yeah. But you have to protect your families, you have to protect your communities and stuff. It comes down to if certain communities within the UK don't want to sort themselves out, they will be sorted out. Of course they will, because it's always going to, look what's happening in Ireland right now. You only got to watch what's happening in Ireland. It's going to kick off there pretty soon.
Do you think that's the place where civil war will start?
Well, civil war is a really interesting one because I'm not an expert on that, and you need to speak to experts on civil war because people like David Betts and people like that are pretty good at this sort of stuff. However, he was saying that it wasn't going to be a civil war between the white population and, say, another population. It was going to be within other populations, so Indians and Pakistanis or something like that, you know what I mean? That's what he was thinking, I think, was civil war, from what I remember. But he's actually said recently as well, he sees Ireland as a bit of a leading light in what's going to happen.
Yeah, or like a leading darkness and what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is sad, but also it's almost like needs to happen for governments to sort of start thinking about the rate at which they've pushed immigration, because no one's saying immigration is bad. It's always been there. We've always had a movement of people. Of course we have. It's the rate at which it's happened. And that's really, I mean, jobs, schools, medical care, everything. That's what's been disrupted. And I just think it's been entirely negligent. And if I was in a party, and of course it wouldn't matter anyway whether you're in a party and you got into power, it wouldn't matter. That's why I'm not into politics. I'm into community. I don't believe politics is the answer. Look what happened in reform recently. It's not the answer. Reform's not the answer. Homeland's not the answer. None of this is the answer. None of it's going to change because the civil service is still there. And the civil service in the UK, you watch Jess Minister and you'll get all the answers. It doesn't matter what party's in power. The civil service is there to stop rapid disruption of politics. So things carry on going.
They're a blockage.
I think individual ministers were saying, I think Liz Truss was saying when she was here, very similar. Individual ministers can't change anything. Now the Prime Minister can, but they make it difficult for them as well. But individual ministers have people working underneath them and they just, they block stuff. So I don't think anything will change.
Are we unsavable?
No, I don't think we are, because we're English. And we just, in the end, what we'll do is we'll just go and kill everyone in the whole country, and that's all we've ever done. And we will, and it will come to a flashpoint.
You don't really think that,
you're an Englishman. I'm an Englishman. I've got Welsh ancestry. I've lived in Scotland honestly, I can't see anything else happening. What would you see happening?
Well, my ancestry, the ancestry thing is a complicated one, isn't it? I don't even know where mine is from.
Sure.
But my grandparents were all born in England.
Sure.
But I would add to what you were saying that not only do the English, whoever that might be, and it's very difficult to define,
sure,
but
of course.
Not only do they have responsibility to sort of step up, but I think immigrants, including first, second, third generation, who love the West, who love the values of the West, have a responsibility as well. They want to be part of this.
Absolutely.
I've moved to several different countries and lived there, and once I'm there, either I go, I don't really like it here, I'm moving, or I go, right, I'm on board. When I'm in Argentina, I'll get my Argentina football kit. I'm still England's and all that, but I'm living in their country. I'm going to be polite to them. I'm going to do their thing and stand up for their values. If they want to do tango in the street, then they can do it. Although it does wind me up at like 4 a.m. when I couldn't sleep because
that's just Argentina
parties and stuff.
That's just Latin America, isn't it?
That's just ridiculous.
But the thing is, there's no alternative. So, do you know what the Sikh community did when their girls were abused? You're aware of what the Sikh community did. They didn't have as much of a problem with it as we did because they took it under control themselves. And that's what Sikhs do. So there are a lot of people that sort of aren't around anymore, it seems, because the Sikhs were very much, we abide by the law in the UK. I think as Englishmen, we do. But I think when you've got the Defence Secretary saying the borders are open, as I said on my YouTube channel, all right, we'll arm ourselves then. If I wasn't allowed to lock my front door at night, I've got a family to protect. Do you not think I haven't got a bat next to the, you know what I mean? Of course I've got weapons in the house.
But this all sounds very American to me. And I just wonder if there's an appetite in the English, or maybe not appetite the right word, because I think there is probably an appetite.
Sure.
But if there is if people are prepared the way that you are enough, I think people just sort of living, walking about, going,
I've seen it coming through town today. Yeah, absolutely. People are oblivious. People got headphones in. on public transport. I get that, but no one's looking over their shoulder. I'm the guy with the back to the door. I'm at one end of the carriage and I'm looking through the whole carriage. I've walked through one carriage already just to check, and I'm on the other carriage. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking long and distant, and I'm not living in fear, but I'm not the guy that's going to have someone next to me attacked whilst I'm walking around a town. You know, I mean, I've always got my wife on the inside of the curb, so I'm close to the traffic and stuff. So, you know, there's things that when my wife goes into London, I tell her, you know, when you're going to check your phone, walk into a shop first. But we don't teach these things. You don't have don't have your phone out on the street for some guy on a moped to come past and nick it. You know, just walk in a shop, sort your details out, happy where you're going, back out again.
So that's you. As a whole country. I mean, do you see, let's say, I mean, a lot of people are concerned that within 10 years, 15 years, Islamic parties will gain power in the UK, just democratically.
Sure, yeah, they will.
So then will the English and the immigrants who feel part of this, or the British, or whatever it is, will they be passionate enough to fight through undemocratic, anti-democratic means?
Because, of course they will. Of course they will.
You think there would be
I think historically that's who we are. I mean, you have to, I mean, the language of the world is English. I mean, if you look at British colonialism, we took over the world. But I think back in 1925, 25% of the world, in 1925, 25% of the world was occupied by the British and was speaking English.
We're very different to the people.
From this little island. I mean, the size of us, it's ridiculous.
But all empires fall.
We just get bored. We go and take over the world and we just, you know what I mean?
Empires fall, though.
Of course they do. Empires fall, and America's falling at the moment, and China's rising up. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's fascinating. But you know, all I know is when there's no hope left, then you may as well go out with a massive bang. And I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, I think, as you said, when you go to someone's country, you become a guest in their country, and then you earn the place to stay. And I think with a lot of immigrants, I'm not saying that because that's the wrong thing to say, because I don't believe that at all. And I've got to be very careful with the words that we use, of course. I'm saying that that would be good advice to people that came to the UK, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Just be a guest for a bit.
Well, I would, if I went to Qatar or Dubai.
Well, you'd have to, yeah.
I'm not going to go drinking vodka in the street.
No, I mean, give it a go.
As I do, as is my one. Of course, every day in the UK, I'm just gulping.
8 in the morning, there I am. You know what I mean? Straight away.
But if I'm in Dubai, I put the vodka aside for one damn day.
Well, also, remember in Dubai, you don't get citizenship, so you can't stay there forever. So you're in a very transient space. So my brother works out there, and he loves the place, but he's never going to be able to stay. So when he finishes working, he's going to have to move. So everything about his life is transient in that Arab land. So it is what it is.
91% watching Heretics clips are not subscribed. Quick favor, hit subscribe. Free, takes 2 seconds, and helps us question everything together.